This video was brought to you by Envato Elements. Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be taking your Plants vs Zombies drawings and turning them into realistic looking creations using the power of Photoshop. Over the last few weeks you guys have been sending in your awesome character designs with the challenge of creating a new original PvZ plant. Out of over 30 entries I have chosen 2 to recreate in a photorealistic style. An absolute ton of work went into these, so I hope you guys enjoy. The first character we have is Blissa, sent in by Rust Baltus, and they said, she is based on an IRL plant called Wrinkled Peach Mushroom Rhodotus. Thank you so much for your entry. I love that you included the colour scheme as well as some additional drawings from other angles. Anyway, let's jump straight into Photoshop and get started. Okay then, so first things first, I think we're going to start from the top down. I've already done like a little mock-up, so you don't have to worry about me like going, what am I doing? Because I know what I'm doing and I've actually cut things out as well, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we're going to work from the top down and I'm very excited to show you guys what I'm thinking. It doesn't always go to plan. That's the thing with Photoshop. You think you know how it's going to go, but it doesn't go that way. And the first thing we're going to do is this. Now, fortunately, I think the drawing was actually based on this, which helps a lot because it's pretty much it was kind of at like that angle. But it's now, if we get it in the right place, this is pretty much the exact angle we want. There we go. There's your drawing photoshopped. Wow, a joke. This is going to be sort of our base thing. So this is what we're going to use as the main texture. We're going to use it at the bottom. The legs. Chop, chop, chop. Chop in mushrooms. It's like a recipe, you know. A lot of these things you having to do are very relatable to cooking. Liquefy. Sometimes it defaults to this bloat tool, and bloat tool just makes things bloat. Can you see? It's like it's making it go. You kind of got like the Groot feet. That's what it kind of looks like. He's got Groot feet. Oh no. Why is this transparent? So just before we continue with this being a Photoshop video, I thought it was fitting that today's sponsor should be Photoshop related. It's also a service I've personally used for a long time, so it's something I highly recommend, and that something is Envato Elements. Envato Elements is a subscription-based stock website perfect for any YouTuber, artist, filmmaker, or content creator. The site offers thousands upon thousands of stock video, music, photos, sound effects, graphic templates, 3D objects, and more. Basically, anything you need for any creative project can be found on Envato Elements. Unlike other stock websites that charge you per download, Envato Elements gives you unlimited downloads from as little as €14 per month, and everything is covered under one commercial license, so you don't have to worry about a thing. Everything can be used anywhere. I've been using Envato for over a year now, and I can't tell you how much time it has saved and how much it has helped to improve both the quality of my YouTube videos and other professional work. Pretty much all the images you see in today's video were from Envato Elements, as well as the music you are hearing right now, the transitions, sound effects, and more. If you are interested in finding out more about Envato Elements, there is a link in the description below. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So now I've done a little bit of tidying on the body. We're gonna add the little feetsy. So you can see we've got this like mucky stuff at the bottom. So we're going to get this mucky stuff and we're gonna make it into some little boots, kind of like how Nightcap has her little boots. So next up we have the neck chief thing. Okay, so then once we've done that, we're gonna have the sort of mysterious veil. So yeah, so that's kind of the basis. Now obviously we're gonna have to start working it up and stuff, because obviously at the moment it still doesn't look very good, and that's mainly due to lighting. So I feel like this could be like, this is potentially like Nightcap's cousin. That's what I'm gonna That's what I'm gonna say. This is Nightcap's cousin. So we're gonna do the thumbs now, and then we'll probably move on to the eyes, and then we'll think about lighting, because I feel like I need to come back to that. Okay, so we're finally getting somewhere with these thumbs. We're just gonna play around a bit more, but I've just been looking, and I don't know how I feel about this smoky effect, because I don't think that's what they were trying to get at. I think this is sort of like this area, just darker, because I don't know. Maybe the smoke cloud's just too big, and I need to sort this out, because obviously the problem I've got these big blobs. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better, because it actually follows the shape a bit more. You kind of get this idea that it is part of the mushroom. There you go. Okay, so now we've covered up those bits. I think it's definitely getting there now. I guess we could get working on the splodges. Do we do the environment now, or do we do the eyes? I hate doing eyes. The eyes are always the scary bit, because I don't want to mess it up, everyone. Okay, so we've got the initial shape of the oh, okay. We've got okay then. So we've got the initial bit of the eyes done, but obviously that doesn't look great. Some demon eyes, which can definitely help us in this situation. Maybe the balaclava should be glowing. Maybe if we just make everything glow, it'll be fine. If you're taking anything from this video, guys, just make things glow. It looks good. We've got to sort this out. I've got to sort this out, because it's just not right. It's just not right. Let's start bringing the things in. So we have this first. This is going to be our foreground. We have some mossy logs. We're going to use 2 of those. This is kind of where you'd meet the character, I suppose. This would be like, you know, like when you go in Garden Warfare 2 and go to Citron's like base and stuff. That's how I imagine this would go. Okay, so now we've got to doing the color correction and getting everything looking in the scene. And this is going to be a night scene, so we've got to change quite a bit now. One of the things I want to do, this is going to be like a mystical forest. So we need to add, like, we're going to make the grass pink, and we're going to do that kind of look. We're now on to the actual environment, and this is where things get a bit tricky. We've done glowy arm at number 1, and I guess we got to do the same thing on the other arm. Okay, or we could copy the arm, which is definitely what we're going to do. We're copying the arm, everyone. Okay, so now that we've done the lighting on Blissa, we've still got some stuff to do on there, but what we're going to do now, I'm going to do pretty much the exact same thing on the other 2 mushrooms behind. They'll probably be a bit darker, so I'll have to adjust for that. But yeah, so we're going to do that. I'm going to speed that up because this might take a while, and it's pretty much the same process. There's nothing new here. So after spending many years in the Mushroom Kingdom, we've finally got to a stage where we can actually move on to the logs, and we're actually nearly done. OMG, this one has been a long one, but I'm really loving how it's looking at the moment. So a couple of things you've just got left to do are, we've got to adjust the neck chief thing, because I was gonna do that and then just got backtracked. And then we've got to do the shadow around the bottom of Blissa as well, and then we've got to do the logs and stuff. So we're going to do that, and then it's going to be speeded up once again probably, and then we'll get to the finishing touches. So yeah, oh, it's getting exciting. This is the good bit. Okay, a little bit too excited there. Okay, let's do it. Overall, I have to say I was really happy with how Blissa turned out. As you could see, there were many moments where I thought the exact opposite, but that's always the way with Photoshop. This is probably the longest I've spent on a character creation ever, but I think it was very much worth it in the end. Thanks once again to Respaltus. I will send a digital copy of this back to you as soon as possible. Our second entry today was sent in by Lucky Luke 2000 and is called none other than the Cucumber Cannon. Very similar to the Coconut Cannon, but I thought this was just such a great idea. It was drawn really well and it just put a smile on my face. Lucky Luke said, "Have a good day, smiley face." Thank you very much, Luke. I hope you have an awesome day too. Right then, here we go. So after spending far more time than any normal person should looking at cucumbers, the first step was to take this cucumber and use Liquify to morph the object into a shape that resembled the original drawing as much as possible. As you can tell, this was far easier than with Blissa. Now, this delicious, bizarrely shaped cucumber you see before you was obtained through the glorious Envato Elements that I totally haven't said already like 100 times throughout this video. However, I wanted to highlight just how powerful their 3D assets are for Photoshop artists, especially for someone like me who's always wanted to learn 3D modeling but has never had time to learn. Being able to rotate an object in 3D space with Envato means I can choose any angle I want to suit my needs, just download the angle and poof, into Photoshop it goes. I don't even need to cut it out. This saves tons of time, allows me to be more creative with my compositions, and there are over 50,000 3D objects on the site, so you're almost guaranteed to find what you need. Next on the to-do list was the wheels, which I had a lot of fun making. Initially, I tried to recreate the wheels almost too realistically. However, the thick borders Lucky Luke had used for the wheels really made them feel more like actual vehicle wheels rather than what I did first, which was make it look like some crazy person had just stuck sliced cucumber to another cucumber. So once I'd fixed my tragic mistake and duplicated them, we had 4 beautiful cucumber wheels. Then it was time to move on to the scariest part of any character Photoshop, the eyes. Firstly, because the texture of an eye is really complicated with all the shine and that fun stuff, but the fact that I was creating a realistic creation of something that isn't realistic, so you have to make the eye look both cartoony and realistic at the same time, which makes absolutely no sense, but you know what I mean. After failing miserably a number of times with Liquify, I finally got to something I was happy with, and I think it might be the best realistic cartoony eye I've ever made. So I decided to take a quick break from the eyes and do some work on the barrel, which I ended up changing multiple times, but I did find this cool sliced cucumber on Envato Elements, which I thought worked nicely. Then I went back to work on the scary eyes. Now this was the bit that really brought the eyes to life and actually made it look like the eye was part of the cucumber, not just stuck on with a glue stick. At this point I felt like everything was starting to come together. I had the overall shape and some of the details filled in. However, looking back at the drawing, the actual details on the cucumber itself weren't quite matching up to the original drawing. I tried a number of things like drawing on it with the brush tool, finding some lightning textures which kind of looked cool but wasn't really what the artist was going for, I don't think. However, I ended up finding another cucumber from my favourite place and used blending modes to get a slightly glowy effect but without it being too much. Once that had been sorted out, this was where I went back to do some of the subtle yet very important shapes shading that just ties all the separate bits I created together so they look like one cohesive piece. It was then time to build the scene, so my idea for this was to try and create like an action shot of these plants defending Dave's house in the backyard. This was why I opted for a really wide canvas to give the viewer a battlefield perspective almost, and allowed myself some room for some projectiles, which we'll get to shortly. Also, I wanted this to be some sort of macro shot, super zoomed in to create a large sense of scale. In PvZ the plants are much bigger, but I was basing this on the size of an actual cucumber. After removing the bird, I added 2 additional cucumber cannons to reinforce the idea this was the backyard. However, I decided to remove the one at the front as it was kind of blocking all of the hard work I'd just spent hours on. Next, I went back to try and fix the inside of the barrel as I wasn't happy with it compared to the rest of the piece. I removed the sliced in half cucumber as I realised that wasn't really realistic, and instead I decided just to make it darker to fix it. Then it was time to work on the awesome cucumber projectiles, which was really fun. I started off with some motion blur to give the idea that this was being forced through the air. However, because of these being giant cucumbers and it being Plants vs Zombies, I wanted to add some sort of comic movement lines without it looking too cartoony. So I found some rain effects online, and by turning them horizontal and adding motion blur, it gave this really cool wind effect. Not gonna lie, I was surprised how well this worked. I'd never done it before, so yeah, that's a little tip for you. Continuing with the effects, I wanted to add at least some glow to the projectiles, A, to reinforce the idea of it being fired, and B, so it made you feel like this was an explosive, like the tactical kook. I tried a number of meteor images, but decided to go with something more subtle. Finally, I added a lens flare to once again not only indicate an explosion, but mainly because it looked cool and I still wasn't 100% happy on the inside of the barrel, so it just covered it up if anything else. After that, it was just time for some nice particle effects and a camera raw filter, and there you have it, the cucumber cannon. Overall, the cucumber cannon turned out a lot better than I imagined. I was really worried about how the eye was going to look because I found them so tricky, but I was impressed with what I managed to do with bevel and emboss. I think I'd have liked to have done some more adjustments on the inside of the barrel, as I'm still not overly happy with it, but the lens flare made it work. It was also really nice to try a different type of canvas size for a change, and creating the explosive cucumber projectiles was just something I'd never thought I'd be making, but I had a blast doing it. Again, a huge thank you to Lucky Luke for sending in the drawing. As with Blissa, I will send a copy of the cucumber cannon back to you as soon as possible. Finally, if you would like to get your hands on some physical copies of these prints, they are available now on the Redhead merch store. Link is in the description. Anyway guys, that's about it. Thank you to everyone who sent in their drawings. I'm hoping to do more of these in the future. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and if you do want to support the channel further, check out my Patreon page by clicking on screen now or through the link in the description. But other than that, I shall see you in the next one. Okay, thanks guys. Bye. Bye.